My daughter's age never really impacted my thought about my age or the years that I have left on the planet or any of that stuff. Whereas now, having a grandson, I think about it. I think about it more. A lot is probably not correct, but I do think about it. Like I think about his milestones in life, like
Yeah.
when he turns 5 and when he's 10 and when he's 15, and
Yeah.
will I see 20? Will I ever see 25? Likely not, right? I'm 67 and I think about that more so now. And it creates a couple of things for me. It creates a sense of urgency that I want to create as many family memories as I possibly can in the time that I'm going to be gifted while I'm here. It also creates a sense of urgency in that as a coach, I want to try and have as much impact on as many people as I possibly can. Again, with the time left that I want to work and continue doing what I'm doing. And it's interesting. I really think it was the fact that my grandson came along that started me thinking down this road because I didn't think about it before. I got, another birthday happened. I got older, turned 60, turned 65. I just kept thinking, okay, yeah, it's another year, but there wasn't this feeling of really understanding that I'm in my last chapters of my life. I guess that's the best way to say that. Do you
Which is
guys ever
freaking
think?
amazing that you could say that, because I don't know if I could actually say those words out loud. Like, seriously. Like,
But
it's like,
when you said the last chapters, I'm like, can we phrase that more like season of life, later season of life or
but
something?
still,
I
it's
don't know how many
it's,
chapters there are.
yeah.
There could be, another 10 chapters, right? Like I don't know what
Well, my life is
the
a
events in
series.
my life. Yeah, exactly. It is. But all of ours are, right? Like every time we do anything in our life, whether like we go on a family vacation, that's a chapter. You accomplish something, that's a chapter. Michelle does her run, that's a chapter. It's like all of these things, right? But there is obviously going to be at some, I guess I'm a realist enough to go, there is going to be some point in my life whereby the end of those chapters are going to become very prominent. They're going to be very much in my face. And I think about, what do I want to reflect on? What do I want to have seen happen before that takes place? If I had any control over it all, which of course I
Right.
don't. But
Right.
assuming I did, right? Assuming I did, how is it that I want to live this next portion of my life, the end of my life? I'm in the last third for sure, right? There's no question about that. I'm 67.
Yeah.
So
There's
definitely
no
in the
stopping.
last third. Yeah, can I stop it? That'd be good. But I just like, it's interesting. I don't know if I sort of think about mortality more because of my grandson and how that's going to affect me, obviously, because I'm not going to be able to be a part of his life like I have been with my daughter and the age
Right.
that she is, right? Do you guys think about it at all?
I think I forget about it until a milestone comes up. So for me, it was last December when my oldest son turned 40. And I'm like, when the hell did he turn 40? Like, when the hell did that happen? Because the three of us, we have talked in the past how we do not allow age to dictate our life in any way or form. We've talked about things we were doing later in our later chapters, not our last chapters, our later chapters, and that's where it was like, oh, a holy shit moment for me, to be very honest, And then I remembered when my mom, before she had passed, she said to me one day when I turned 50, I can't believe I have a daughter that's 50. that I can't stomach that. Like, I can't put my head that my daughter is 50. And that resonated with me because my son is 10 years away from being 50.
Right.
You know, and then I think we can get caught up in two things. We can get caught up a little bit in regret because, oh, I always wanted to and I didn't, but my life it's too late. That type of stuff. And we can also use it, like, to what you said, Tracy E, as milestones. Maybe now we're more intentional to make sure we have, so we're aware of certain, we want to make certain memories of different things. And for me, I'm more conscious in my conversations with my boys and my grandchildren. I always end my calls with, I love you. Every single one, no matter what. And that has developed through the years. It wasn't, you know, when they were a teenager or this and that, you know, of course you say you love them, of course you tell but it's like, you're a phone call or leaving my children, because they're on the East Coast, does not end until that it comes out of my mouth. Like, there is never that. And so, yeah, there is, for me, I think about it, but I don't allow it to control my thoughts.
Well, for me, I do have a milestone coming up, which I'm not sure I'm ready to discuss yet, but it's kind of messing with my brain, because I say one thing, but my brain is telling me another thing. And I think one of the things when you start talking about age and milestones and where we're headed and whatever chapter seasons, is that I wouldn't call it regret, but I think I look and go, wow, you squabbled a lot of time. Like, there was so much more you could have done in the past. And like right now, I just feel like a hamster. Like, I want to do this, and this. Like, there's so much more. And I think this milestone coming up is really kind of right in my face. Like, well, you know, get going. Like, get going. If you thought that you always think when you're younger, you always think you have much more time. I'll do that later. I'll do that later. And the squabbling is more of, how do I say this without sounding like conceited? But I feel I have so much to give, and I finally figured it out. And then I go, okay, wait, what? I figured it out now. Why didn't I figure that out, 30 years ago? So that's the big in my face, I think, is just, I feel, and squabble to me is the perfect word for it, because it's like, you just let things.
And I love that. I love that word, squabble. I kind of do. I like the way that you brought that up. Because
some people might have to look that up because it's an old school.
But I think we're sitting here having a conversation about our last chapters in our life. But I think people forget that every birthday is a gift, because there is no saying whether your birthday is that you're going to be 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. They're all gifts, because a life can change like that. And I'm not trying to be morbid, and I'm not trying to be scary, but we all, I'm sure, know people that have all of a sudden passed away on us. Whether it was an accident, whether it was a freak thing with an illness, whether it was, we went through the pandemic, we went through all of this stuff that I think people think they have all this time, and we're not guaranteed even the next day. So yeah, we're sitting here saying, holy crap. We could be in the last season, chapters, I don't care what we call it, of our life, but so could a 20 or 30 or 40-year-old also.
But we don't think that way, though, right? We're not taught to think that way. We're not conditioned to think that way. And Tracy, to your point, I want to offer the thought that perhaps you weren't ready for your gifts at the time 30 years ago.
Mhm.
Perhaps you weren't ready to greet the world with what it is that you are truly offering people 30 years ago. You had other responsibilities, other gifts that you had to create and perfect to give to who it was that was in your world at that point, at that time. I honestly believe that that is a season that we're all given, that we're all given our richness at the time that we can best possibly serve whoever it is that is, whether it's our family, whether it's a community, whether it is a career that we are giving. I honestly believe that it happens the way it unfolds for a very specific reason.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Because I was scared. I was scared to voice my opinion, to voice, like I did, but not the way I feel now. Like now it's like, it's just so pure of what I feel, where before I would probably filter it out. Okay, well, Michelle doesn't like that, so maybe I'll filter it out to appease her a bit. And Tracy likes, and now it's just so pure, and it's like either you get it or you don't, and I'm fine with that. And I'm fine with that. And I just feel like there's so much to give, and then it's like, okay, well, that clock is a ticking.
Yeah.
But isn't that a coming of age? Let's just talk about that. Isn't that something that happens as we mature and get wiser and all of those things? Right?
I know, but I think I grew up thinking I would hit that at 30 and I would just be an adult and know all that what I needed to know. And I'm this point in my life and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm still figuring this crap out.
But that's, you know what I think?
Yeah.
I think that's beauty. And here's why. I think that until our last breath comes, we should be growing and learning and investigating and leaning into discomfort. And maybe I won't be 85 and deciding to do a 50-mile race, but maybe I'll take up painting or something. Like I think I've thought about this before, and I think we've talked about it a little bit in past episodes. Do you hit a certain age and then life just ends? And I think what you're feeling, Tracy G, is showing that nope, because I have all the stuff I'm going to give, and I don't care. I'm reaching this age. I'm going to go out and give it.
I think if anything, the age that we are at, and yes, I'm the granny of the group, but the age that we are at allows us to lean into the discomfort more so than when we are younger. Because when we're younger, there is much more about the fear of other people's opinions, the fear of rejection, all of those things that, we grapple with when we're younger. And so we tend to maybe stand back a little bit more because we don't want that discomfort. Whereas now, I know for me, it's like I have things I've got to get done. I got things I want to do. And I'm not going, I'll just put that off for a couple of years, not a problem. We'll do that when I'm 70. It's like, no, we're going to get this done now.
Or that infamous saving time, that infamous saying, when I have the time.
Right.
And we're now going, oh crap, I'm supposed to have the time and I don't really have the time because we're all busy, and like, no, we're just going to go do it because you never have the time. But so I think there were times where I've had conversations with one of my sons, when I pass, this is what I want. And he kind of like looks at me like, why are we having this conversation? And I think maybe it could be because I had the bout of cancer last year and I had all of that it was more prevalent, that I wanted to make sure they knew what I wanted in that aspect. But I'm not trying to be morbid. You can go out for a car ride and get in a car accident, or I can live to 102. There is no there's no knock on the door saying, okay, come on, Michelle, you have 3 more days, get it all done. We're gonna come get you, you know? And so, I think there's a little bit, and people call it being morbid, but is that being morbid, or is that just helping my child with a decision that they might have to make?
I also just think that we need to ask ourselves that if there was a limit on our time, if we were only going to be around for like a year or 2 years, what are the most important things that you want to accomplish in that time frame? Because that's going to blow out all the nonsense. That's going to blow out all the things that don't really matter. And you are going to be left with what it is that really is important to you, and what it is that you need to focus on, what it is that you need to do.
Right.
And sorry, I was gonna say, I never asked myself those questions when I was 30. I never said, oh, well, you know what, if time was finite and I was going to only be around for a little while, what is it that I really want to do? And I know that at 30, because of what my physical body felt like and my energy levels and all of that, those answers at 30 are definitely going to be different than my answers at 67, for sure, as they should be, right?
Yeah.
Because we change, and what was important at 30 is no longer important at 67. But it's always worth revisiting that so that you can get that clarity on what it is that you want to do in the next few years. It really does become a poignant conversation to have with yourself.
Yep.
To ask
And
that
we
question.
had that episode where we talked about living with intention. Like, what are you doing? Check in with yourself. And are you doing the things you want to do or need to do? Or are you just going to let 10 years pass and you just kind of rode the wave of whatever was going on, right? And and I think that's what it is for me too, is that living with intention. As I look back and go, I never, exactly what you just said, Tracy, I would never question at 30 if I'm living life with intention and really doing the things that I think I should be doing.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, the same. I think they always say the best way to live your life is by sitting down and writing your obituary. Because then you'll live your life the way you want to have people write the end of your life at, you know? And so I don't want to write my obituary, I'll be honest. I've never had that desire and still don't want to. But it's the same thing. It's living with the intention. How do you want people to, how do you want to be remembered? How do you want to be, I think we talked in the previous episode on, we focus so much on certain things and we don't focus on how we service, how we are with our own people, and we focus so much, sometimes too much, on superficial stuff and not on important things like how we look instead of being
how we act
or being
treat other people.
Yeah, being present when you're with people instead of saying, different things like that. So I think that's all part of training, and yeah, we're all, everybody, every single day is aging in some way. You're all going towards your own mortality, and just live every day with intention. I think we all three have said we want to live with purpose and intention, and that's why we don't stop what we're doing.
I think the eulogy, though, is a really worthwhile exercise. I really do, because I think it will provide you with clarity on who it is that you want to be. It's going to show you what your values are, what is important to you, because you're going to probably have things in there that, I was a kind individual, I was loving, I was this, I was that. You're going to come up with all of the traits of what it is that you want to embody, who it is that you want to be, because that's how you want to be remembered. And then the question is am I living?
Am I living right? Am I living with that intention now? And if not, what do you have to do? And it's not that you have to change the second, but you can do one actionable step towards that how you want to be remembered.
And even
Yeah.
if you look at it with the, like, socially, like, I want people to show up at my funeral. Well, if you're not putting yourself out there to meet people and create a community for yourself, then that's not going to happen. So maybe if you wrote that down and went, you know what, I guess I will have to put myself out of that comfort zone and get out there and try at any age to create those, you know,
The friendships the friendships that you want, those social interactions you want.
Yeah.
I have a cute story. My father, always, I'm his only daughter. He has a couple stepchildren. He always would tell me, I don't want a wake before my funeral. Don't spend the night before and a wake. Because if nobody wanted to come see me when I was alive, I don't want them at my wake. I don't want them, Michelle. That's how strong he felt. If you don't want to see me while I'm alive, I do not want you at my wake. And so when he passed suddenly, I had a small viewing before we went through the church services, and it was mostly family and his close friends. And I was joking in my mind, like saying, okay, Dad, I get it. I get it. But he was adamant. He was adamant, and nothing upset him more than when his wife, my stepmother, was in a nursing home and she had to be placed there permanently. She did have dementia, and they were extremely active in their church, extremely social. And when she was first there, of course, everybody comes. But then as time went on, it came less and less. And that annoyed him that you don't want to see me alive. Please don't come to a wake and cry over me. I'm sorry. I don't want that. And it's the intention. He lived his life with intention. My dad went to all kinds of wakes, and I'm going to guarantee you, he would call nieces and nephews to say hi. He would call my grandsons, his grandsons, my sons. He would go out and see people. He joined a club. He joined the Knights of Columbus at the age of 80. Okay. My stepmother had passed away, and he joined the Knights of Columbus so he can give back in service at the age of 80. And he lived till 89.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's a man living with intention.
Mm-hmm.
So, tell us in the comments your thoughts around aging. Is there an age that can bother you, that kind of like screws with your mindset a little bit? Give us your thoughts on it. Tell us what you think about it. Tell us, even if you're at a younger age, does these thought processes even like pop in your head, or do you think I'll do that later in life? Make sure you share and sign up for subscriptions so that you are notified of our next episode every Wednesday. And don't forget to hit like if you like this episode. Until then, talk to you later.
Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you as a regular member of our community.